So I just got confirmation of my hypothesis about how the priesthood came to be. How did the priesthood gain so much power, like actual influence and power over kings? Over kings. Here's how it happened. Thousands of years ago, things were happening in the sky. And obviously there are cycles, solar cycles, lunar cycles, and planetary cycles, wandering stars, planetary cycles. And if you just observe closely enough, and if you have any kind of measuring tool, then you can see that over a period of time that these patterns and cycles repeat. So here's what happened. My hypothesis, and I've said this on live streams, and I've said this in private and in public. Here's what happened. The priests, they set up these observatories, and I've traveled to Mexico, and I've been to 3 Mayan ruin sites, Teotihuacan, I've been to Palenque, I've been to Chichen Itza. I've seen the observatories that were constructed, ancient observatories, where they had these little tiny windows, and when certain stars or moon or sun or whatever would appear, they could see angles and shadows, and they could see that this was here and this was there and this happened here, and they documented, and generations later they could start to see these repeatable patterns. So the priests who kept that knowledge amongst themselves, they had the knowledge. Nobody else did, because they observed. That was their job. And so they knew damn good and well that tomorrow there would be a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse. And they knew damn good and well. They could calculate to the day, to the hour, that next week there'd be a lunar eclipse. Next month there'd be a solar eclipse. They knew, they had it mapped out, calculated, generations of observation. They had that shit figured out. So, the priest would come out to the people and say, I just got done talking to God, and he said he wants you to work a little extra hard in the field, produce a little extra, grain, corn, produce. He needs you to make a sacrifice. He needs you to sacrifice some of your livestock. Give us some lamb, some goat, some cattle, whatever you got. You need to make your sacrifice to God, bring it to the temple, where I live, by the way, because I'm the priest. I live in the temple, because I talk to God. I obviously live in the temple. Thanks for building me that really nice temple. That's my house. So the priest would come out to the people and say, hey, look, I just talked to God. He says he needs you to make this sacrifice. And the people were like, yeah, you know what? We work our asses off, and screw you. And the priest said, look, God told me to tell you, if you don't make this sacrifice, he's going to block out the sun. And you know how bad that is, because without sun, nothing grows. You don't want that, do you? And they're like, yeah, fuck you. And the priest is like, look, I'm not joking around here. I just talked to God. He says if you don't make your sacrifice, he's going to block the sun tomorrow. Well, guess what happened? They had the knowledge, they had the track record, and they knew damn good and well there'd be a solar eclipse. And the following day, the sun would be blocked. And then the priest come out and says, I freaking told you, bring me your sacrifice, bring it to the temple. This is my hypothesis, and I've said this many times. So the other day, I'm listening to, get this, I'm listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's on Joe Rogan. And whatever you think of those guys, I don't care. Neil deGrasse is describing Christopher Columbus. Now, I haven't confirmed this. This may or may not be true. I think it is true. It's probably true. Christopher Columbus is said to have approached the Native American Indians, and he said to them, "Hey, would you mind ponying up some of your excess grains and food? Because, you know, winter is coming and I got soldiers to feed or whatever." And the Native Americans were like, "Yeah, no. We don't have any surplus. So how about no?" And Christopher Columbus said, "Well, look, my God, which is more powerful than your God, he said that you should do this, because if you don't, he's going to cause the moon to disappear." And the Native Americans were like, "Yeah, go screw yourself." Okay, well, a week later, there was a lunar eclipse. But Columbus knew it was coming, because they've been tracking that shit, and they knew. And sure enough, a week later, there's a lunar eclipse. And then Columbus comes out and says, "Fucking told you. I told you." Next thing you know, gold, silver, grain, animal products, sacrifice. Here's all you can eat. That's exactly how the priesthood came to be.